So we're here at Perfect Rose Farm in Mukono, central Uganda, and we're talking to Hope, the founder and owner of Perfect Roses. Good morning, Hope.
Good morning,
Please tell us how you got started.
We are going to be here for about 2 days if I'm going to go in details. In 1991, I was the Public Relations Officer of Uganda National Bureau of Standards, and I was invited to Sheraton Hotel to give a presentation on packaging. Mm-hmm. Because even way back then, our biggest problem as a country was and still is how you present your merchandise. Mm-hmm. And normally I use an example which I did at that conference, where you get gold and you wrap it in old newspapers, put it on a shelf, and get dust and put it in a nice box and wrap it with Christmas glitter and put that on the shelf. Mm-hmm. Invariably, somebody will always pick the glitter package, never mind what is inside. Mm-hmm. So that's what I had gone to do that day. Mm-hmm. Then these guys start talking about roses, grown roses, and so on and so forth. I sat up and listened. I said, hang on a second, that sounds interesting. Mm-hmm. Now, my earliest memory of the home where I was born are flowers around our sitting room window. So I've always loved flowers. I grew up seeing flowers. So they're beautiful things. Mm-hmm. So I put that love and this concept of how lucrative actually roses could be if you got in. And I then said, okay, this is something that I should give a shot. At that time, that young man next to you was quite young. I went and talked to him. He got into Makerere, did forestry. The day he left university, I attached him to Lugazi roses. And he started from the ground, like you have seen those guys digging. Mm-hmm. And as every year, every day, he would come home and I'd say, Godfrey, are we ready? I said, no, ma'am. Mm-hmm. He goes through the ranks, supervisor, manager, managed 1 farm, 2 farms. After 10 years, he came home one evening. I remember it was around 7 in the evening, and I was at home alone. So he walked through the door and says, "Mom, I'm ready." I said, "You are ready?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yes." I said, "Go and resign your job." The following day, he walked to the farm where he was working. He put on his resignation, and then started the drama of Perfect Roses. At that time, over the years, I had been saving. Every year, I would save a little towards my dream. So in the 10 years he was training, I had managed to put together 30 million. Wow. But then, you needed about 50 million to do an acre.
Yeah.
So I went to my bank, Standard Chartered, which had always been my bank, and I presented my idea. My account manager looked at me, shook her head and said, "I'll talk to my superiors." She talked to 1 superior, 2 superiors. I went as high as the MD. Nobody was buying into this crazy girl's dream because normally people need billions to start a rose farm. And here was this guy interloper wanting to start with only 50 million. And
seriously?
everybody thought it was impossible.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. I started shopping around because I knew it could be done. I knew I could start and somehow, somewhere, I'd get where I was going. Mm-hmm. So I shopped around and somebody said, there is a new bank called DFCU. I said, DF what? Because I had never heard of it. So I found out where DF whatever was located.
Yeah.
I remember walking into this lady's office at around 11 in the morning. Mm-hmm. I told her my dream, and her only question was, do you have an account with us? Mm-hmm. I said, no, I've never heard of you until today. How can I have an account with you? So she says, can you open an account? I said, sure. I ran to go to Standard Chartered, got my 30 million, got a waist bag, strapped it around my waist and walked back down to DFCU and opened an account.
Yeah.
That afternoon, I applied for a salary loan, went to my bosses, got my recommendation letter, and as they say, the rest is history. Perfect Roses was born. Mm-hmm. Then came another drama. We go and make plants for our 1 acre. Mm-hmm. 90% of them died.
Seriously, what happened? Tell us about that.
The thing is, we were using, as you saw when we were showing you, what did I do with my hanky? As I showed you, we make plants using rootstocks. Now, the rootstocks that we used at that time were, we think, were too old.
Yeah.
So, that's germinated, but the support was too dry. So they dried.
Oh dear.
So we remained with 10% with absolutely no money in the bank. My son struck my manager and partner looked at me and said, "Mom, what next?" I said, "We fight on." So we fought on. Started with our 1/10 of an acre. Now, over the years in his training, he had got to know about who buys roses. So as soon as they were ready for harvest, I sent out emails to the addresses he had got. And when I'm talking about myself, I don't say Miss or Mrs. or whatever. I am Kabiris Hope, full stop. So I send out this email and say, "My name is Kabiris Hope. There is a new farm called Perfect Roses. I'm the MD. We are looking for market. Are you interested?" Then, on Easter Monday, 2008, my phone rings at about 7 a.m. in the morning. I groggily reach right and say, "Hello. May I speak to Mr. Kabirisi?" I said, "Mr. who?" Because Kabirisi was my dad and he died way back when I was in S5. So I said, "Mr. who? You woman, stop wasting my time. Mr. Kabirisi sent me an email that he has roses for sale. You secretaries know how to waste time. I don't have that kind of time. Can I talk to your boss, please?" I groggily say, "My name is Kabirisi." The Mzungu said, "You said your name is who?" I said, "My name is Kabirisi." Eric says, "My name is Eric Brown of Rosalink. My company is the second biggest rose buying company in Holland. We buy roses from all over the world. We've never had a woman." Actually, his first reaction was, "But you are a woman." I calmly said, "I think so too." I said, "I also think I'm a woman." Then he says, "My company is the second biggest rose buying company worldwide. We've never heard of a woman before." I said, "Well, I'm here."
Yeah.
So we made a program and he flew in.
Yeah.
You should have seen his face when I opened. Like I am now. I had my nails very well done. Because I had a meeting the previous day with my other boss, which I'm not going to talk about here. So I walk out, but no, this is how I'm always. Being a farmer doesn't mean you should look shabby. Godfrey, you are going to have to do away with your phone if you are going to help us. So, and if you can go to the car, and get and look in my bag, I need a hanky. I'm sweating. So he comes, I get out of my car, and he's like, I walked him because we were meeting somewhere for me to pick him. Like I picked you to bring him to the farm. So I walk up to him and I said, "Are you Eric?" And he's like, "Who wants to know?" Because he's looking at this girl who is looking absolutely devastating and he can't believe this. I said, "My name is Kabirisi." He said, "You are what?" I said, "Yeah, I am the Kabirisi. Can we go to..." We sat in that car. The man looked at me and looked at me. We came to the farm. Toward the farm, all he was doing was staring at me. So when he went back, I sent him an email. I said, "Eric, what was that all about? You said I'm the first woman you are dealing with. Are you going to have a problem dealing with a woman?" Then he wrote back. He said, "No, I like what you are doing. The quality of your roses is superb, but I was shocked by how you look. I expected you to look different." I said, "Well, here I am and you are going to deal with..." So in all of that, I think what we learn is your gender doesn't matter. Your appearance doesn't matter. What matters is what you are capable of doing.
I would like to take you back to how you came by the land.
Okay. When this is the land where my late husband was born. Actually, that house which you saw where I had proposed we sit, that is the house he grew up in. His mom and dad were here. You've seen the graves. This is the family Hibija. We in Uganda, we have places where you bury your dead. That is where the Verengas are buried. So, when my husband died, he left me this land. Now, of course, with 50 million, I couldn't afford to buy land. I could barely afford to put up a greenhouse, never mind buying any land. So I decided, the president is always talking about using family land to turn it into a commercial enterprise instead of growing matoke and potatoes and beans for eating. So, likewise, I thought we would use the land for growing roses, then we could use the money from roses to buy potatoes and cabbages and whatever.
Okay.
And, now that you've taken me, so we decided to start with these 6 acres. But over the years, we filled this and we have a second site. My buyer gave me an advance and we bought another 15 acres of land about 3 kilometers from here, where we had started expanding when the storm hit, and we had put a halt on the expansion and going to rehabilitation and reconstruction. So, which reminds me, at the beginning of this project, when we were ready to start, my children and I, because I hold 76% of this company, my 3 children, Patricia, Edgar, and Godfrey, each one holds, thank you, each one holds 8%. So we sat down to propose names. Everybody had to bring a name and defend the name you were proposing. When it came to my turn, I said, can we name it Perfect Roses? They said, reasons? I said, where I come from, we have a saying that a bad name is a curse to the owner. So I told my children that I intend to have the best roses in this country. So fortunately they agreed with me and we named it Perfect Roses. And indeed, according to Eric, we do grow the best roses in this country. For example, during the ash cloud nightmare.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Our roses were stuck in Entebbe for a week.
Wow.
When they got to Holland, there were quality claims against every other farm apart from Perfect Roses. And you tell about the quality of a rose by how long it stays alive.
Yeah.
So the quality is good.
Yeah, because they're quite perishable.
And,
now, one of the things that really interests me is female enterprises and looking at what are the challenges that are specific to your gender, if I can put it that bluntly. And you've alluded to some of them in as far as, the people who hold the market having expectations of you being a man. So perhaps you'd like to tell us a little bit more about any challenges that are specific to you as a woman and a businesswoman at that.
of course, one of the first challenges you meet is bias.
Yeah.
People look at you and say, like Eric's reaction, according to him, I'm the only female MD in the entire world. They have never had anybody else before. But earlier on I told you I call myself Kabilis without putting Miss, Mrs. or whatever. My firm belief is that my gender has absolutely nothing to do with what I'm able to do. My marital status has absolutely nothing to do with what I'm capable of doing. So you have that bias. A woman can't. And that is the same problem we have in our schools. Apparently, girls are not supposed to do mathematics. I don't understand why.
Seriously?
Yeah. There are very few. Even a teacher will say, that is a girl. They can't do mathematics. And you are like, but 1 + 1 is 2. So, one of the... in my first meeting, when I started this farm, there were 17 rose farms, flower farms. And there was a meeting in the Ministry of Finance chaired by the then Minister for Economic Planning, the Honorable Chiwanuka. So I walk into this meeting and this huge table has men in suits sitting all around. I open the door and walk in. Chiwanuka and I knew each other very well. And he looks up and says, Kabilis, you are lost. What are you doing in my meeting? And I'm like, I'm here to attend a flower exporters meeting. He said, a flower exporters meeting? I said, yes. He said, who are you representing? Because all the farms are already here and they are already, and everybody is now peeping at this girl gaping away. I calmly say, have you heard that there is a new farm called Perfect Roses? Everybody like, I said, well, there is a new farm in Mukono called Perfect Roses and I'm the MD. One man has the nerve to say, are you mad? How can you come into this field, into growing roses? I looked at him and said, What do you mean, am I mad? Are you mad? How come you're growing roses? Without even blinking, he says, but I'm a man. I say, oh,
Seriously?
do we need anatomical bits to grow roses? In that case, I'll be defeated. But if we are talking about ability,
Yeah.
I am here and I intend to stay. And I'm proud to say,
Yeah.
and thanks to my son and his team, because as I told you earlier on, the biggest asset any entrepreneur can have is the workforce.
Yeah.
Without them, you are sunk.
Yeah.
So my team has worked so hard. We were 18 when we started. Now we are 9.
Oh, okay.
And Tiny Perfect Roses is one of them. You can see our velas are falling apart, but you can see our quality is still super. So we are fighting on. So I'm proud of my team. So one of the challenges is the bias. Very few people would stand that kind of hostile reaction because it really was hostile. I sat in and I'm here. Then, of course, the next thing is land.
Yeah.
May my husband rest in peace. Very few people, very few women are left free to use the family land.
Yeah.
And indeed, it was a scandal, especially in Uganda, for him to leave me land that has the family burial ground in it.
Yeah.
Because I'm supposed to be a foreigner, never mind that I'm the mother of the children of the clan. So I was lucky I had access to land. Land is an issue. Then, of course, there are the finances.
Yeah.
I don't have the assets.
Yeah.
And as you saw my battle against my MD, do you know that I went as far as offering to give him the title deed of my car and my house? And he was still not interested. That is a bank that I had banked with since university.
Right.
So there is the issue of financing. So women are up against such heavy orders. But my firm belief is, believe in yourself.
Right.
As long as you are, first of all, you must know what you are doing. Like I told you, that young man went through training for 10 solid years before he even put the first rose in the ground here.
Right.
He has battled such heavy orders, and God try owe you one, and I always will. I call him my gift from God because he's a brilliant boy. He does a lot of work. So you have to know what you are doing. You have to believe in what you are doing. Because as I told you last year, we lost 80% of our farm to a storm. But we are here. We are fighting on. You can look at these velas. You look at them and say, surely these people can't be serious. We are serious. We are here. We are taking out roses. We started with 1 box of roses, taking it by border to the next farm, to hike a lift to the airport. We started, and up to now we don't have a cold room. What we do, we take our roses to the airport the night before or very early the morning of export so that we can use the airport.